Welcome to EconomicZ101, the podcast made for Gen Z by Gen Z, bridging the gap between economics, finance, current events, and our generation, with speakers Vish, Wretam, Sinan, and myself, Mihir. Today, we're going to be talking about the massive controversy that occurred just a few days ago in Astrofest 2021. Wow, this really blew up over every single social media. You see TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, millions upon millions of views, tweets, conversation happening about what occurred during this festival. Today we're gonna go over the details of what happened, what we think is gonna happen for the future, and a little bit of prediction, if you will, of how Travis Scott and his crew are going to function after lawsuits and things proceed in the next few weeks and months. To begin with, I think I can give like a little bit of a context of what happened at Astroworld. So, trigger warning for anyone sensitive to fatal material or anything with graphic material. Astroworld was a massive tragedy. In fact, it is the most fatal instance of a music concert in modern history. So basically, a crowd surging incident happened at this music festival on Friday night in Houston, Texas, which led to the death of 8 attendees and left hundreds of other people injured. Currently, there is a criminal investigation underway, and as of today, which is Monday, the 8th of November, several concert goers have filed lawsuits that have alleged that Travis Scott, and the concert promoters Live Nation are involved with the event and were responsible for the deadly surge of the crowd. For people that don't know, Travis Scott is probably, if not one of the biggest music artists that we have today. I know that Sinan, when he used to play Fortnite, he used to rave about how fun it was to go to Travis Scott's in-person concerts and then even get that immersion in-game. But yeah, Travis Scott is absolutely massive, a multi-global sensation that goes everywhere and gets hits everywhere.
Yeah, as Mihir was saying, I've been listening to Travis for a while. I along with millions of other people, have listened to his music. Played Fortnite when he was a thing in like 2020. He's a pretty big deal. So it's just really unfortunate to see like a tragic event concerning his own concert. Or I think 50,000 people attended, and still I think what I heard what happened is that like security like completely collapsed. Like his main thing at a lot of his concert is quote unquote raging. So like a bunch of people, jumping up and down, not really like aware of their surroundings. And with 50,000 people in such a close vicinity, like anything can happen without like proper protection or security. So it's just really sad to see 8 people, meeting the end of their lives just because of this.
Yeah, this is kind of random, but so about the Fortnite thing, they took away his skin because of this whole incident.
Really?
No way.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they took away his
There's
skin.
no
Now
way.
he's not on Fortnite anymore.
Wait, I genuinely did not know about that. I was going to talk about that. I still remember that a few of us we went to the Fortnite concert about like it was
Dude,
during
I
the
have
pandemic.
that skin. I literally have that skin.
For a little context for our viewers, Fortnite, for the people who are not nerds out there, it's a really big multiplayer game where it's like a battle royale of a sort. It's probably if the biggest game that's ever hit the mainstream, with tons of celebrities like Drake, Ariana Grande, Travis Scott, of course, attending in like IRL and virtual events. And it's a big deal for them to take this massive fund of marketing away from Travis Scott, because this is like a massive controversy.
I didn't expect that though from Epic Games, which is a creator for it, to take out the skin. Like that's a pretty big deal in itself because a lot of people, I think it cost like $20 to buy that skin, and then now people are probably gonna have to be refunded a lot of that money.
I don't think it's the main concern about the skin itself. I just think that it is well deserving of. I think we forgot to mention.
Oh yeah,
that,
yeah. You're definitely right about that. Or at least that's how I feel.
Okay. If we failed to forget, we failed to mention that like so many people actually died from that concert alone. Like I believe a 14-year-old was the youngest amongst those who died, and that's tragic.
I think there was another report of like a 10-year-old dying too. which is absolutely crazy. And to go off, obviously another trigger warning, the cause of the deaths were because of asphyxiation. So it wasn't like people being trampled on and dying. It was a cause of there was so much overcrowding due to the lack of security, like earlier in the day. So like for context, um most of the deaths and the injuries that happened were around 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the night, when like most of the raging, as Sinan was saying, happened. But in the morning, when people are like rushing in to get their tickets, get better spots to get closer to the artist or whatever, this was around like 11 o'clock in the morning or at noon. Um, security gates were completely blown open, and I believe hundreds upon thousands of people just came in without any authority, and it was a massive security risk. And that obviously came into the night, as there were so many people in the venue and trying to get closer and closer to Travis to see him. They were literally getting crushed against each other, which caused the unfortunate deaths.
So I know we've obviously talked a bit about like what happened at the concert. Like, what do you think like other artist reactions would be to this? Like, do you think they would might increase their security for their concerts, or like, especially because this is like such a foundational event? Like, where do you think like this would take for the rest of the music industry and their concerts?
Honestly, if anyone was like trying to support Travis like online or something like that, I feel like they would get like a bunch of hate because there's so many videos on like Twitter, Instagram, any kind of social media. There's videos of like what happened at the concert and the crowding that was going on. So I think in general, like a lot artists are going to be forced to like not condone this and probably up their security and change things that they or like change how they run their concert.
I'm gonna add to something just really quick. So this is a little bit off topic, but not really. So I think there's been a lot of videos online that surfaced where Travis, he kept singing in his concert while looking at like an unconscious like person in the crowd. And it's just like, so definitely his fame just all around is just gonna go straight downhill from now. So I think that's an important thing that future artists performing at concerts are gonna have to take note of, that them security, they're gonna have to have eyes on like the crowd, similar to how like a lifeguard would look over a pool and to make sure no one's drowning, right? So I think in that way security might have like significantly increased in the future.
I think that, like, especially what you're talking about, like the video, it's a really, really dark thing because um Travis Scott, he was kind of like in a circle. So he was performing in like that middle of the circle, and there was a circle of gates around him, and people are just pushing and pushing to get closer and closer to him. And you see in the video that he's just like jamming out with his auto tune while there's bodies essentially just being crowd surfed out of the area. And another thing is, there was massive, massive local and internet outreach about what happened. A lot of the people that went to the concert, specifically one person, which I'll name nameless for now. She had posted on Instagram about the accounts of what happened at Astrofest, the environment, how it felt hellish and really scary. Tons of people falling unconscious, tons of injuries are all around you, and no one listening to you. I mean, just think about that, right? You're having the absolute worst time of your life, and no one can listen to you. The employees aren't giving in because they don't want to be fired, right? If they do something that stops the concert, they're gone. Travis Scott, who's the ringleader of all of this, isn't putting something out, telling his employees, telling the managers to stop what's going on, which also causes so much more hurt and pain. So what this girl ended up doing is she posted on Instagram the account of everything that happened, and it garnered, I think, to now almost 1 million likes. So tons and tons of impressions, and you see on local media, national media, global media, and even across all social platforms that people are completely condemning this behavior. And there's also people like, as Vish mentioned, with like how people are defending Travis online. There's a bunch of backlash back and forth, and it's become a really messy situation.
I mean, I think this also stems from the fact that, okay, obviously people like Travis Scott and all these big celebrities, they're going to have a huge fan base. But I think one thing we fail to consider is that how this fan base reacts to such, like events. We have these people going crazy over the rapper, and through that we see them doing crazy acts, which actually hurts them. And I think we also see this in other concerts as well. I know Playboy Cardi, his fan base, which I believe the Vamp Nation or whatever it's called, they pride themselves on like causing what they call ragers, I believe, where they go crazy. I kind of find it funny how not a single death was caused in there. And I don't understand how something that's known to be crazy has this many injuries, yet something like Travis Scott really had 8. If anyone wants to touch on
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I think with what we touched on before, like security was a massive concern as just people are just being let in randomly and just everything's being broken down. Honestly, it's just complete chaos. And I really liked one thing that you said, Ritam, where you're talking about fan culture. And if you guys can recall, a few months ago we did a podcast on pop culture and how everything revolves around this social phenomenon that we have: fans, stands, media, people who just like artists in general. Everything is around this bubble, and you can truly see the dangers of fan culture with what the event that happened last week. People are blatantly disregarding the loss of life, and the sad lives of the families that have lost all their family members. That's just it's a completely surreal feeling, and it draws light to the fact that maybe a lot of people are chronically online. They need to get off their computer, get off their phone, and maybe go outside a bit, interact with other people, and not have these sort of fanatic obsessions with these artists that have such a bad event happening. Well, I mean, thankfully, not more than 400 casualties that were there. With the situation that had happened, you could have imagined there were so many more deaths that occurred. God forbid anything else happening.
I mean, I also think that someone like Travis Scott, who has a daughter, should have set like a better example, should have set better safety measures. I'm pretty sure his what is it, his significant other Kylie, or I'm not familiar with the Kardashian situation, but he's his significant other was there, and I don't understand why he didn't have the proper safety measures when his loved ones were there.
I
I think.
mean, from oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I think one of the things that Travis is saying, or like that he's put in his apology, is that like he's trying to get full refunds for anyone who bought tickets to like the Astroworld event. But again, can that really make up for the loss of 8 different lives and other people in critical condition?
No, his apology. It wasn't really an apology, in my opinion. The guy, I think, was rubbing his head for around 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
it was a sore
It
sight
was
to see.
actually atrocious. Like I, I know sometimes like there's been like these YouTube videos where people rank or like tier apologies. Travis Scott's apology was bad, man. It was really bad. I don't know how his PR team let that happen, but essentially it was in the video. It was like a series of like 6 or 7 Instagram stories where he's apologizing. He did not apologize. That's a major thing that we have to highlight. He never said sorry or never apologized for the situation. He said, I really care about my fans and I want to redeem the situation as best as possible. If there's anyone that has information about the victims, please contact blank and blank. For more information, contact your authorities and contact the service providers. And it's really unsettling to see that, especially as someone who's listened to his music for well over 7 years now.
Vish, you were gonna say something?
Oh no, I was gonna talk about so I was reading some articles about this like literally while I was in school, like in Gov class. And then the security teams were justifying themselves a lot. Like there's like this New York Times article and they were saying how they had more security than like a World Series, like the baseball like World Series, like those type of games, and those are usually like huge. And they were saying how yeah, I don't think the security team, which is what a lot of people are blaming on social media, like I don't think they're like willing to take the fault for what happened.
Let's just hypothetically say that they were correct in the fact that, yeah, they had the biggest security team since like, what did you say, MLB or like whatever
No,
that
no, the
was?
World Series.
World Series, my bad. So let's just say that they did have better security than that. My bad for messing it up. Just sets the precedent for how much more security and protection we should expect from future concerts. Because if that amount of like security protection, this amount of people, they're ready to like
Yeah.
stop any outrages or things like that from happening, and it still failed in a group of 50,000 people. I mean, 50,000 is
Mhm.
not small at all. But I think definitely there will be way more like stricter protocols
Mhm.
for that.
I think one thing you hit on with like them comparing it to the MLB's World Series, I think that's just complete BS. That's just not right. With the videos that were surfaced online, people just breaking through the fences and just getting through, the security was not at that level. And that's also segueing beautifully into our next point about like lawsuits. There is a bunch of different stuff happening against the security team, against Travis Scott, with the families that suffered the deaths. Um, yeah, it's literally law hell. By Monday morning, at least 3 lawsuits were filed in the aftermath of the tragedy, and there's more that are coming out as we speak. Civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump had actually said he had filed on the behalf of the survivor, Noah Gutierrez, and expects to file on the behalf of others. He kind of said that this was just chaos and desperation, and this is the reason why a lot of law councils have to step up and fight for what's right. They were talking about hearing horrific accounts of the terror and helplessness that people experienced. Lawsuits were also filed on the behalf of concert attendees Manuel Souza and Christian Paredes. As you can see, there's tons of people, whether it be the families that suffered their family members dying, or survivors from the concert. It's really chaotic.
I mean, speaking of law itself, I think the thing about social justice in this current like era is that with the pandemic, like I know social media apps like TikTok has gained like massive traction, and from there we're able to have more messages sent throughout. So I remember going through like scrolling through TikTok, and this one lawyer who I follow was talking about how he wanted people to send messages because he's representing someone in this Astroworld case, and literally half an hour after, he posted an update TikTok saying he has received thousands, and I mean thousands, of different messages, from photos, from videos, from pictures, anything. And all of that has helped him make his case a lot stronger in creating a way so that he can strengthen his case. Overall, like social media has helped with that significantly.
I definitely think that's like one of the positives that we have towards the outreach in the 21st century. We can make the change as much as our system allows it to. Connecting back to like something we talked about, like with political structures, capitalism, or whatever, and how it'll work in like the field of law. Realistically and unfortunately, I don't think anything's gonna happen to Travis Scott. When I say this, I mean he is not going to be filed and defiled of literally every financial asset he has. He won't. Obviously, there'll be a hit to his reputation, but 5 years from now, he might have an album out. He's not going to be completely shut down, and not do I think he should be solely responsible for what happened, but in the judicial system of America, a lot of wrong things get unheard. The security team, on the other hand, I think they're just going to get blasted. They are getting so many lawsuits thrown at them, and rightfully so. I have absolutely no idea how something this normal, just a normal rap concert, got blown into a fatal situation. And hopefully, all the survivors and the families of the dead get all their consolation and everything back to them as fairly as possible, to make sure that the situation can be redeemed in its best manner.
The team here at EconomicZ101 offers our full condolences for the tragedy at Astrofest 2021. And we really hope that whoever was affected feels a lot better and a lot more safer.
And I think all of us here do recognize that this isn't like one of our, economics, finance podcasts like normal. But we feel obligated to, talk about this issue, especially because it was such a big tragedy, and hopefully we can get back to like our current topics very soon.
And that is the wrap to our 16th podcast. We know we've been out for a couple of weeks, but we hope you enjoyed our podcast today. We definitely had an interesting time speaking about Astrofest and what happened, as it was like a different change of pace from what we usually do. But as Sinan said, next week we'll be back to our normal content as we're talking about the House Infrastructure Bill, putting a more political spin on what happened in the last few months. As always, make sure to check out our socials. Check out our website in the description. We post on TikTok pretty often, man. Come follow us there. And goodbye.
See you guys.
Peace.